I am receiving. I am receiving now. I am receiving all the wealth the universe has for me now. Welcome to Manifesting a Life. How many of you have done affirmations? This is an affirmation that I did back in 2015 and had some pretty good success with it. So I decided in September of 2016 to start doing it again and record what happened. And I just stumbled upon this the other day. So I wanted to kind of go through it real fast with you, as fast as I can, because I have a lot written down on what happened that year. So we'll start off with October. In October, my husband and I went to the movies, and we knew we had our free popcorn coming, but we did not expect the free movie ticket. So we had a free movie ticket also. Also in October, I ended up having lunch with somebody that I'd met at one of the business networking groups, and she ended up paying for my lunch. She insisted. So I never pass up free food. That's something that college taught me. Never pass up free food. Now, October is also my son's birthday month. And we had had a lot of bugs in the house, in his house that year. And so we decided I wanted to get him an electric bug zapper, the kind that looks like a little tennis racket, and you go whack and whack and whack. And I'd seen them many months before, but I guess in October I think all the bugs are gone. They weren't. And I looked all over the place for them. I looked online for them, could not find it anywhere. I looked in all the local stores, the Targets, the Walmarts, the whatever, and I could not find it. I went into town one day, and while I was in town, my husband called me and said, "Why don't you go and check out Bed Bath & Beyond?" And so I thought, I don't think they're going to have it, but I'll go check. Well, I went there, and they had one, not just one, they had two in a clearance bin. So they were marked down, and then I also had a 20% off coupon that I used. So I got it fairly cheaply from Bed Bath & Beyond. Well, on my son's birthday, we also took him to the movies. And we ended up with another free popcorn, which we weren't expecting because we had just used all of our freebies up earlier that month. And after the movie, okay, this is my son, very practical person, almost to a fault. He wanted socks for his birthday. It's kind of like unwrapping a Christmas present and getting underwear, But that's what he wanted. He couldn't think of anything really he needed and wanted, but he needed some new socks. So we went to Kohl's, and I had $14 in Kohl coupons. I also had a 30% off coupon with Kohl's. And so we got him 6 pairs of socks. That only cost me $5.90 altogether. And so that was pretty good for Kohl's there. October was a very prolific month, apparently. Because also in October, I ended up with half a dozen free apples from a friend's apple tree. And the apples here in Virginia are really wonderful. Nice and crisp. If you ever had an apple that's actually ripened on the tree, they're very good. So that was a nice addition to get. We also had somebody that came down the street, a neighbor, that had a truck load of tomatoes he had to get rid of. And so we took 2 crates of tomatoes. And we ended up giving 1 crate to friends at church, and we took the other crate and chopped them all up and put them in the freezer and used them for several years. Now, moving on into November, I ended up winning a door prize at a women's networking group I went to. And it's always fun to win something. I also had another friend that wanted me to work with him using the EFT, which I've done in the past. So I did. I worked with him for about an hour, and I wasn't expecting any payment, and he gave me $50 for my time. So that was really nice of him. Also during November, we had this big walnut tree that was leaning and leaning and leaning. That was kind of right on the property line between us and our neighbor, and it was leaning over into their yard. But they had this big utility pole with a big street light type light shining down into their backyard. And that line went from that pole to another pole to the main pole, and this tree was leaning onto those lines. And we kept thinking, oh, we got to do something about this tree. the tree has to come down, and because if that tree fell, it was going to pull that line, probably pull it off that line, pull it off the pole, and probably the whole neighborhood would go dark. Well, one day in November, when we were coming back from another networking group, we went to a lot of networking groups, still do. We pulled in the drive, and there were these people, electric company, out in the backyard. And one of the guys came over and says, "Do you mind if we take down this tree?" And I said, "No, please, be my guest." And so the electric company took down the tree. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Another Saturday in November, I helped a friend who was doing some kind of a speaker presentation. They brought in a speaker to do this presentation at the church, and I helped her out with the front door and signing people in, taking money and that kind of stuff. And then afterwards, we would take the speaker out to dinner. Well, we went to this really fancy restaurant, real nice place. I've never been there before because I don't usually go to expensive places. And I decided just to get 2 side dishes since I wasn't really that hungry. So I got a side dish of asparagus and another side dish of macaroni and cheese. Well, my asparagus came out when everybody else's meals came out. And I ate that and it was excellent. And I waited for my mac and cheese and waited and waited. And it finally came out as everybody else was finishing up. Now, since it had come out so late, they didn't charge me for it. So I ended up paying $5 just for the asparagus and mainly for the tip. Like I said earlier about free food. Okay, in December, I had given a presentation to one of my networking groups. And one of the ladies there in the group, she had come to me and said that her husband, who had met my husband and I at another event previously, had been very impressed with us. And so she just wanted to let me know that he was going to try to direct some clients my way. So that was very appreciative. But then, it's like 2 days later, we met her and her husband at a Christmas party that this networking group was having. And he talked to my husband and I, and he invited us to appear on a radio show that he hosts. And so we did, and it was a lot of fun, really enjoyed it. Then he invited me back to come back, and I ended up being a regular from, January of 2017 now, until 2020, 2020, when the pandemic hit, and then everything kind of shut down. And that was a lot of fun. I really did enjoy that, but it was time for me to take a break anyway. Now that December was so full of so many wonderful parties, lots of free food, all kinds of free food. But there was at least 6 parties we went to, and I've never been to that many Christmas parties before or since. And so that was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. In fact, one of the parties was at a local French restaurant, a very fancy, expensive place. And it was very nice, very good. Also in December, my kitchen and bath design business kind of picked up. So that was nice to have some good paying customers. In February of 2017, I really started changing up my affirmations a little bit and doing them more in earnest, daily, making sure I did it daily, maybe a couple times a day. And here's the affirmations I used for that. I kept the same one I had before, but I made it one affirmation. I am receiving now. I'm receiving all the wealth the universe has for me now. I also added in, there is nothing for me to fear. God's good is at work and divine plans are forthcoming. And then number 3 was, money comes to me easily and consistently. Well, as you can see, my affirmations are getting longer. But I was working on them very diligently during this month. Well, March was very busy for me. I had a lot of new leads, new customers. I also had an inquiry from a freelance writer who was going to be writing an article for a builder's circular that was coming out in one of the local papers. And he wanted to interview me. So we did the interview, and I saw the article, have a copy of it somewhere around. That was a lot of fun. I guess these affirmations didn't work all that well because I decided to change them up again in April. In April, I needed a new affirmation because in late May, we were going to be taking a trip to Jamaica with a group. And there was going to be a formal night. And I needed a nice, long formal that would be appropriate for Jamaica and on the beach. And I didn't have anything. So one of my affirmations was, let me get this right, I give thanks that I'm beautifully and appropriately clothed with the rich substance of God. And then I had some other affirmations that I kept using. Let's see, I used everything and everybody prospers me now, and I prosper everybody and everything now. I'm sorry, I'm trying to read these without my glasses. I don't know how well this is working. 3, all financial doors are open. All financial channels are free, and endless bounty now come to me. Well, April ended up being a slow month. Even with me saying these affirmations. Nothing really happened this month except for my husband was able to sell 2 camera lenses that he had inherited. And I had not found a dress yet. I was looking for a dress. Didn't find anything. Well, when May 1st came around, I decided to change my affirmations again. I don't know if it's such a good thing to be changing affirmations. What do you think? Should you just settle on something and just stick with it for a long term? I was starting to change them every month. So this is what I ended up with the second month. I'm going to put my glasses on for this. Sometimes I forget and do put my glasses on and do my glasses, but I don't like the little shadows it puts on me. That's why I usually try to do this without my glasses. It is my divine destiny to succeed, and it is God's business to help me. I expect and claim His divine help now. That was the first one. See how long these things are getting? And I'm doing 3 of them, so this is the second one. There is nothing for me to fear. God's spirit of good is at work, and divine results are forthcoming. And the third one, I give thanks that my financial income now increases mightily through the direct action of God's rich good. Okay. Well, I continued to look for my formal for the Jamaica trip. Went to all my standard places, the big Belks, Pennies, whatever. And I would go to their section. I would look at the clearance stuff. Even the clearance stuff, they weren't doing it for me. They were also very long and expensive. The clearance stuff, the lowest price one was still $79. How's that a clearance? And they were also very long. It's like you had to wear really high platform heels or something for these to not drag the ground. It's like they're made for 6-foot people, or maybe they're made for women with wearing stilts. Just was not doing it. So that wasn't working. I continued looking for a while. I actually had gotten to the point where I was just going to give up. It's like, okay, I'll make do with something that I have. We were leaving for Jamaica on the 20th. On the 19th, the day before, my husband had a class he wanted to attend in Richmond. So I went with him, dropped him off at his class, and then I was going to drive around a little bit. And I was stopped at a Ross Dress for Less shop. And so I decided to see what they had. I went in there, pulled 3 formals off the rack, and tried them on. The third one, it was it. It was beautiful. I got a picture here for you. That's us at Jamaica. And I loved it. It was the right length, and it was definitely the right price. It was only $39. Well, I bought the dress, and then went out and got a pedicure. I was so happy. Now, I did not do any affirmations after Jamaica. I just got too busy with other stuff and just quit recording it. If I was still doing them, I wasn't recording what was going on. So, do affirmations work? Well, I think they were working for me. But it may have been that they were helping to raise my vibration, keeping me in a positive area, keeping me reminded to be positive. And I think just doing that, keeping your vibration up, is what really helps a lot. That helps those higher vibration things that you really want to come into your life. I am going to post the affirmations that I used. And why don't you let me know if you've ever used affirmations and how they worked for you? And why do you think they worked? It's always curious. I'm such an analytical person. Please hit the like button if you want to hear more of these kind of stories. I hope you're enjoying them. And subscribe if you haven't already. That's very appreciated. And thank you if you have. And until next time, go out and manifest your life.